Hello, Christ is in our midst. I'm Father Kevin Long of St. Elias Antiochian Orthodox Church in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Today is Friday, March 21st, 2025, and here are the readings for today.
A reading from the book of Genesis, chapter 8, verses 4 through 21. And in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest upon the mountains of Ararat. And the waters continued to abate until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and sent forth a raven, and it went to and fro until the waters were dried up from the earth. Then he sent forth a dove from him, to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove found no place to set her foot, and she returned to him to the ark, for the waters were still on the face of the whole earth. So he put forth his hand, and he took her, and brought her into the ark with him. He waited another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out of the ark, and the dove came back to him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the waters had subsided from the earth. Then he waited another 7 days, and sent forth the dove, and she did not return to him any more. In the 601st year, in the 1st month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. In the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, Go forth from the ark, you and your wife, and your sons wives with you. Bring forth with you every living thing that is with you, all flesh, birds and animals, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may breed abundantly on the earth, and be fruitful, and multiply upon the earth. So Noah went forth, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him, and every beast, every creeping thing, and every bird, everything that moves upon the earth, went forth by families out of the ark. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took of every clean animal, and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And when the Lord smelled the pleasing odor, the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Never again will I destroy every living creature as I have done. A reading from the prophecy of Isaiah chapter 13, verses 2 through 13. On a bare hill raise a signal, cry aloud to them, wave the hand for them to enter the gates of the nobles. I myself have commanded my consecrated ones, have summoned my mighty men to execute my anger, my proudly exulting ones. Hark, a tumult on the mountains, as of a great multitude. Hark, an uproar of kingdoms, of nations gathering together. The Lord of hosts is mustering a host for battle. They come from a distant land, from the end of the heavens, the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole earth. Wail, for the day of the Lord is near. As destruction from the Almighty it will come. Therefore all hands will be feeble, and every man's heart will melt, and they will be dismayed. Pangs and agony will seize them. They will be in anguish like a woman in travail. They will look aghast at one another. Their faces will be aflame. Behold, the day of the Lord comes, cruel, with wrath and fierce anger, to make the earth a desolation and to destroy its sinners from it. For the stars of the heavens and their constellations will not give their light. The sun will be dark at its rising, and the moon will not shed its light. I will punish the world for its evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. I will put an end to the pride of the arrogant, and lay low the haughtiness of the ruthless. I will make men more rare than fine gold, and mankind than the gold of Ophir. Therefore I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will be shaken out of its place, and the wrath of the Lord of hosts in the day of his fierce anger. A reading from the book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 31 through chapter 11, verse 12. The mouth of the righteous brings forth wisdom, but the perverse tongue will be cut off. The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked what is perverse. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with the humble is wisdom. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. Riches do not profit in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivers from death. The righteousness of the blameless keeps his way straight, but the wicked falls by his own wickedness. The righteousness of the upright delivers them, but the treacherous are taken captive by their lust. When the wicked dies, his hope perishes, and the expectation of the godless comes to naught. The righteous is delivered from trouble, and the wicked gets into it instead. With his mouth, the godless man would destroy his neighbor, but by knowledge the righteous are delivered. When it goes well with the righteous, the city rejoices. And when the wicked perish, there are shouts of gladness. By the blessing of the upright, a city is exalted, but it is overthrown by the mouth of the wicked. He who belittles his neighbor lacks sense, but a man of understanding remains silent.
For a moment, I'd like to continue on with our discussion of the Akathist Hymn that we offer to Mary, the Mother of Jesus, otherwise known as the Mother of God. What I want to point out, though, is the length that someone went through to write this amazing hymn. First of all, the content of the hymn is, well, I hate to continue using the word, but it's really amazing. There's a lot in it, rich imagery, and a lot of allegory, and a lot of context that's just so important. It tells not of her whole life, but it tells of her time when she is indeed the one who is bearing Christ the King. So it doesn't start with her time in the temple or even before that, the whole adventure of Joachim and Anna as they're trying to have a child. It doesn't go into any of that. But it does go into her life once Gabriel comes and tells her what's about to happen. Okay, so the content in and of itself is really impressive. If you stick to the Greek for a moment, notice that there are 24 verses in the Akathist Hymn. Well, there are also 24 letters in the Greek alphabet. And wouldn't you know, the first stanza has beginning Alpha. And then the second stanza has at the beginning Beta. And then Gamma. And all the way through according to the order of the Greek alphabet. That's pretty amazing. And what I think is equally amazing is when the translation that we have in the Antiochian church, at least the older version, they actually went to great lengths to do exactly the same thing. They couldn't do it with every sentence, but they did it with every first letter in the hymn. So the first one is A, the second B, and on and on. And silly me, I thought to correct when the time it got to Q, because Q was not how you spell choir, but that's why they have choir there, so that you can just sort of use artistic license to cheat a little. Okay, so going back to the Greek, not only is it an acrostic, but also the rhyming patterns are extremely intricate and very intentional. So all of that brings the great skill of the hymnographer to light. We see that his love for the faith, his love for the Mother of God, and his desire to create something truly beautiful is established in this Akathist hymn. It's so amazing, the lengths that the hymnographer went to make this a truly beautiful hymn. That is really the essence of what I want to talk about today. We as Orthodox Christians in the Americas, we find ourselves in a bit of a desert. And I don't mean to be overly critical, and I'm not going to be overly critical. All I'm going to say is, in order to get texts out, a lot of times things are forgotten or not even known to begin with. And so the translations are made, and they're serviceable, and we put music that is kind of close to the original, and there we are. We have the Akathist hymn. We can do better. What we've done is we've allowed ourselves to be satisfied with enough to get by for the short term, but we never revisit in an attempt to make it something that is comparable to what is seen in the Greek version of the Akathist hymn, let alone anything else. We've grown comfortable with things like the Lord's Prayer. The word for daily bread, for example, isn't daily at all. It's hyperousia, or super substantial, or even hyper substantial. We just don't have a way to take that word and make it sensible in the English language. We have a hard enough time with ousia or with hypostasis. Yeah, those words are very important in Orthodox theology, and yet we still don't really have a sufficient vat of vocabulary to bring it to light into English. So back to the Akathist hymn, or any other hymn that we do, I wish, and maybe one day this wish will come to fruition, that we had composers and translators that weren't just worried about the letter of the law, the literal sense of what's trying to be conveyed, because they weren't bothering with the literal sense. When they call her a dewy fleece, she's not a dewy fleece. So when we think about the imagery, then, we should use our creative skills to the best of our ability to make something truly beautiful. And I would argue that America and the Western world itself has certain things that it can contribute to this discussion. Not just an immense vocabulary, greater by far than the Greek vocabulary. So there is a possibility that we could do exactly what it is that I'm talking about. But we also have musical settings. And maybe, just maybe, one day in the future, those musical settings can be used in religious contexts for musical purposes to bring about worship. I don't claim to say I know who I'm thinking of in this case. I mean, obviously, you can hear something like Rachmaninoff's Vespers, very much a Westerner, but at the same time deeply rooted in Orthodox theology and music. Or you can think of Tchaikovsky's Divine Liturgy. There are all sorts of different hymns that can come to light here. The key is, when we worship God, we should be doing it as best as we possibly can, and as beautifully as we possibly can. That doesn't mean Byzantine chant all day, every day. There are other musical settings that are equally, if not more so, beautiful to Western ears, and those things should be developed. So there, I've said it. We have tremendous gifts that God has given us. I've said over and over again that we are worshiping creatures. So as such, we should take those skills that God has given us and, echoing our own forefathers in the way that they set these musical hymns to the Mother of God, we should go and do likewise. Well, I hope you found this video interesting, or maybe a little helpful, or maybe have some comments. If you do, let me know. Send a comment to me, and I'd be more than happy to talk about it. In the meantime, I pray that God will bless you and everyone you love, today and always. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, one God, amen. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great day, and God willing, we'll see you tomorrow.